When you have to concede and conclude that you cannot predict anything about this industry, when a movie with absolute newcomers in a genre that is not what is mainly drawing audiences into theaters is opening to a total on its first day bigger than what most stars that have clocked in this year, you know nothing. Ahaan Panday and Aneet Padda are going to have bigger box office openings than Ajay Devgan and Akshay Kumar this year. This weekend is something that even Nostradamus would not be capable of predicting. I don't care what any of these trade experts will say about this movie, and no matter how many armchair intellectual theories they will fling out there, I want to tell you that no one predicted it. Yes, they had discounted rates for tickets, but several movies have done that and not even done 5 to 10% of the ticket sales this movie has been capable of. Screw that. Even if you were to believe that the production company have done corporate bookings to create a favorable impression for the film, do you think they'll invest 25 to 30 crores just so that it is perceived to be a hit, while the same production company has not even indulged in the same strategy, even in the slightest, for their slate starring their biggest stars, which vanished into oblivion and became disasters in theaters? I don't know what to believe. So while I processed stepping in for this film in a semi-packed theater, a rare sight today by the way, I wanted to see what the hype was all about. Saiyaara, directed by Mohit Suri, can easily be titled Ashiki 3, the most contentious title that the Bhatt camp is refusing to give anyone. The film focuses on Krish, played by Ahaan Panday, who is dealing with the soulless nature of record labels that believe in quantity in production versus quality. Dealing with his own personal demons and having lost any artistic calling in this environment where most people only care about views and likes, he chances upon a talented writer, Vani, played by Aneet Padda. How the duo become a solid force to be reckon with musically and grow fond of each other, of course with initial resistance, forms the basic premise of Saiyaara. How the two characters organically get into an intense romantic dynamic and, like any other young adult relationship, face roadblocks with themes quite similar to Mohit Suri's own filmography, enhanced further with some beautiful aching music, is the ride you are signing up for. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Saiyaara in theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Mohit Suri isms. The one thing I have noticed with directors who especially started in the 2000s is that no matter the demographic of the leading pair and how they are, there are aspects to each one's films that will seem slightly dated. And Mohit Suri's extras in his films, actors who have one or two scenes, are always rather over the top. This is true for an obviously effeminate male employee of a company that engages in social media as their core business. The head of the same company will have the worst hairdo and some jazzy earrings. Mohit Suri's favorite supporting actor from his filmography, Shad Randhawa, who you may remember from Ashiki 2, is playing a rapper sporting dreads, and it's the broad strokes portrayal that is very Madhur Bhandarkar coded, which slightly disassociates you from the groundedness and realism being attempted. Raw but with flaws. Both the actors in their debut genuinely leave a solid impression, much superior than most of the debuts I have seen lately, especially in the commercial space. While Avinash Tiwari and Tripti Dimbri from Laila Majnu still will be the gold standard in recent years for me, there was a magnetic quality about both Ahaan and Aneet. The one problem with Ahaan that is consistent in this film is his muffled delivery, especially in instances where he is either angry or projecting his voice at a high pitch. He has this husky pitch at which he delivers dialogues, and oftentimes when tempers rise, he has the tendency to eat words, making it tough to decipher what has been said. While the actor is perfectly competent in emotional moments where there is a sense of stillness, it is when the energies rise where there is trouble in enunciating each word. While Aneet is brilliant in this regard, where she did somewhat seem awkward is the Shaman Sehgal school of acting. Awkwardness and a more reserved nature like that of Vani in this film often has Aneet avoiding eye contact and looking in the distance. This often gives the notion of Vani coming across as visually impaired. I think there is a balance that can be found when characters mentally clock out or are in a daze without being absolutely dead in the eyes. In some moments you will see Aneet is almost clocked out of the scene. The good. Music album and sound design. You can say whatever you want about Mohit Suri and his filmography, with some interesting films and some rather odd choices, but the one thing that has remained consistent in his career are some soulful and, more importantly, original soundtracks. I love what I have seen in the last few weeks regarding Hindi cinema and musical albums. Both Metro In Dino and Aap Jaisa Koi have had such engaging musical numbers, and Saiyaara becomes another addition to the same. Mohit Suri largely focuses on at least introducing one new voice with each film, and through this film we heard Fahim Abdullah, who is absolutely spectacular with his vocals on the title track. I would have loved if Krish's voice was associated with only one singer like Fahim, much like how Mohit Chauhan was linked to Jordan in Rockstar. While there are several artists who have collaborated on the music album of this film, I have to say that the title track and Barbad, sung beautifully by Jubin Nautiyal, have to be my favorites. This is not to diss the other singles because they are seamless and beautifully integrated into the screenplay. Dhun being a great introduction to Krish's skills, with Arijit and Mithun, and Vishal Mishra adding the much needed spunk to Tum Ho To. Sachet Parampara also bring great energy to this album with their single Humsafar. I must say that Mohit, still in an environment of mostly dread and remakes galore, has churned out something special. I think irrespective of the quality of the films, all his films in the 2010s, from Ashiki 2 to Malang, have been spectacular. Man claims he doesn't have an ear for great music but still ends up churning out some bangers. Energy and supporting cast. The film has a vibrant and young energy that is clear in every frame, without it coming across as absolutely being the brainchild of a 43-year-old man, like our director here. While, as I did say, that there are some Mohit Suri isms that you do see, with the extras especially, it does seem like a millennial story. The screenplay writer being 30 himself, I after a long time sat through a romance in Hindi cinema that just did not make me cringe even for a second. There was an abandon in the love, the poetry in the intensity one feels at that stage in one's life, and it never came across as pretentious. This is what young romance is. It's extreme, it's passionate, and somewhat foolish. And I am someone who was in the 12th grade when I saw Ashiki 2, and now I am 30 while watching Saiyaara, and trust me, pessimists may roll their eyes on the nature of love at this stage of your life, but we have all been there when the heartbreak has this visceral sinking feeling that just can't be described, and the love is so intense where you feel like it's the end of the world. I can be the boomer and be like, wait till you grow up. Or acknowledge that the film captures that intense feeling with conviction. I would much rather choose the latter. Geeta Agarwal Sharma as Vani's mother perfectly channelizes the anxiety of a protective mother. Alam Khan, who you may remember from Kota Factory, also as the ride-or-die friend loyal to Krish and his unpredictable ways, has moments to shine. Shan Grover, in a significant role, also has an extremely confident presence on screen, even in his limited screen time. But I think the conviction of this movie lies on what everyone is curious about: the lead pair. I think one of the strongest features of why this film largely works as an intense young adult romance is because the lead pair share some intense chemistry with each other. Ahaan is presented like any debut actor's dream. He has the strut of a rebel when introduced on his bike. He has a commanding, towering presence, and you see a deep sadness behind those eyes. Hesitant in being vulnerable with anyone, keeping his guard up, with all of this style only being a facade to protect the aching within. Aneet Padda as Vani was even more complex. She is a dichotomy of being soft-spoken but having so much to tell, of holding her feelings close to her heart but just needing anyone to be her safe space. There are several beats of her character that are revelations to the plot, but she has this angelic charm that you feel drawn towards. You understand why Krish feels gravitated towards her, why even while she's sporting a simple white kurta, it makes her light up a room. Mohit adds his charming elements of Ashiki 2, aka A Star Is Born, like wanting to share the last moments before saying goodbye, that add the romantic elements even a pessimist like me notices and ends up smiling about. I have felt this intensity of wanting the moment to last a little longer, of not wanting to let go, and the film builds on this feeling with this pair and what they share till the very end. Both the leads convincing me of them as romantic partners, of young adult love that can never be replicated again. Enhanced even more when dealing with life's curveballs, especially when Mohit is adamant in capturing the same with close-ups, both leads shining during the same. I wouldn't call it some sweeping romance for the ages, but a bloody good one nonetheless. What becomes clear when you see this film is that it seems like Mohit, with the screenplay writer Sankalp Sadhana, almost went back to the drawing board of his most popular films like Aashiqui 2 and Ek Villain specifically, and extracted the best themes from the film to create a romance in 2025. You will definitely feel a slight hangover of Saiyaara being an extension of what Mohit Suri has already excelled at. Oddly, in the process of doing so, making a very competent and effective romance with newcomers. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Saiyaara. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.